Yeah, I always ask people, I say, where did you find out about us? And when I get a new client, I say, why did you sign up with us? And I'm speaking at the CEO Institute, and I said, why did you choose me to be the speaker? And they said, well, the other social media speakers didn't Google very well. So this is so important, right? And most people will see your LinkedIn profile as the first thing in the search results, because the way that Google works is it wants to give its users a good experience. Therefore, it chooses websites which have the most engagement, content's being updated, a lot of people are spending time on there, and there's a lot of links towards that website. And so which websites are going to have all of that stuff? There's social media sites, right? So I would argue that Google's becoming a search engine for social media websites, so just keep that in mind. 7 is the average number of key influencers in a B2B purchase. So that's also quite important, because you don't want to just be contacting one person in a company, especially if it's a large organisation. I won't go into the story. I should tell the story, shouldn't I? I'll tell the story about Expedia, where one of my clients, I said to them, we're running the lead generation for a couple of months, and I said, just give me a wish list of who would be your most amazing clients that you could possibly have. And they said Expedia. And I said, okay, well, we'll have a go at getting Expedia for you as a client. And they laughed, right? And I hopped onto LinkedIn, and with the recruiter account, you got visibility over everyone in Australia. So I found all of the people that were in the marketing department at Expedia. It was about 20 people. We contacted every single one of them with personalised messages, and they ended up getting a meeting, and they actually got them as a client. Now, the reason that they said yes to the meeting is because they said that they were all talking about this my client in the coffee break in the morning, saying, "Oh, I got a message on LinkedIn from this dude." And they're like, "Oh, I got the message too." And everyone was, that's how the discussion started. And then they had the meeting, got the client. So anything's possible. One of the other things that you'll find useful is you don't always have to say, "I'm asking you questions to see if my product's a good fit for what you do." You could be asking questions about, you could say, I'm starting a business, and we're working with clients in your industry. We want to find out what your frustrations are. Would you mind could you help me? One of the other things that I did when I started so I won't comment to that one just yet. When I did my online training program, there's a thing called LinkedIn Power Profiles, and LinkedIn give the top 10 most viewed profiles in each country an award for being the most viewed. It's a bit of a marketing technique. But I thought, well, who better to ask about profile optimization than the people that get the most views? So I literally connected with them on LinkedIn, and I said, I'm doing an online course about LinkedIn, and you're one of the most viewed profiles. Do you mind if I interview you? And so the first guy I interviewed was from I forget the name, but it was a financial services company. And after the interview, and I've asked him all the questions, guess what some of the questions were? Same ones that you asked to qualify prospects. He said, would it be possible for me to talk about becoming one of your clients? So you ask the same questions, it might be for a different purpose, but it's not a sales call, but it could end up in there anyway. Another example is financial services are not even allowed to poach people they don't know. There's regulations around it, but they are allowed to send out surveys. So that's another way that financial services companies can generate leads. So, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. I think this is quite important for your personal branding. I think before you start doing any connecting or messaging or anything like that, you really need to nail down what your brand is. And it's becoming more and more important these days to not cater for everyone and have an opinion and be subjective and all those kind of things. Be a bit disruptive. Know who you are and just stand for it, because there's enough customers out there for everyone. So a good example would be, again, I'm going to go back to financial services, because quite often what they do is if they're struggling to get clients, they'll just bolt on more services for their clients. And so when I ask them who their customers are, they're like, anyone with money, like everyone. Which makes it a bit hard on LinkedIn, because there's just so many people. So I said, well, we've got to just pick one, specialise. And if they pick like dentists, because dentists, I don't know, have a lot of money, whatever it is, and they connect with dentists, who are they going to have more visibility with overall as they connect with more and more dentists?
Dentists.
Yeah, dentists, or people that sell to dentists. That's who their second connections are going to be. So once they've got, say, like 1,000 dentists in their network, all of a sudden they're getting 3 or 4 requests from dentists to join their network. because the dentists are going, how come this guy's connected to so many other dentists? I want to connect with them. And there's an important differentiation to make between inbound and outbound marketing. Does anybody know what I'm talking about at the moment? Anyone heard the inbound, outbound marketing thing? Okay. This is really important. Okay, so outbound marketing. This is you. You go out and tell as many people as you can about your product, hoping that you find somebody that's in your target market or interested. Okay, so an example of this is putting an ad on TV or putting an ad in the newspaper, doing direct mail, like to a suburb or whatever. It could even be they're all like within an industry, but you just don't know which one has a need. Inbound marketing is where people are looking for what you do, and you're just showing up where they're looking. Does that make sense? So Google advertising is great for inbound marketing. Everybody who contacts you has a need. How much does it cost? You know, they're already on those, making those buying decisions. So you have to treat these people differently than you do these people, for sure. By the way, which one takes less time to sell to?
Inbound.
Correct, inbound. So what we're actually doing on LinkedIn is, it may seem like we're doing outbound marketing because we're reaching out to people and connecting with them, and then we're sending them a message and all that kind of thing. But if the message doesn't say anything about you, it's only about them, what are they going to do next to find out who you are? Yeah, and in order to do that, they have to click on your name, and that's an inbound activity. So what we're doing is just giving them a nudge, and then they're looking at your profile. So you want to always go back to here. You can do things to create the need, if that makes sense. So when we look at LinkedIn in the long term, if it's going to be harder to connect with people long term, where is the value going to be? How are you going to get more people wanting to connect with you in an inbound manner on LinkedIn? Any ideas?
Educate.
Yep, absolutely. Anything else?
Through the quality of your pages, so the content, actual content.
Yep.
Yep.
Any other ideas? Groups, yep.
Interaction.
Yep. What about optimization? Is LinkedIn a search engine?
Yeah.
Has anybody used LinkedIn to find a service provider before? Yeah. So like, I think to myself, sorry, do you have questions, Suzanne?
No. I was just answering you something.
Yeah, okay, cool. So like if I was looking for an accountant, right, I've got a couple of options. I could go onto Google and I would see a lot of call to actions, ads, I would see numbers of companies, right, and I would get the receptionist and I'd be put through to someone else, and that's one way I could do it. Or I could search on LinkedIn for accountant Melbourne and see who I'm already connected with. Now, if I don't have any accountants within my network, the people that I will see will be one separate, connection away. So if I see like an accountant who's a second connection, and we've got a connection in common as David, for example, that could be like an easy way for me to get a referral into a service provider. People are doing this all the time. And this is where I get most of my clients from, is people are searching for what I do on LinkedIn or Google. Okay, so when you optimize your LinkedIn profile, you show up in both places. But this is something that's a hot topic at the moment, so I want to spend a bit of time on this, publishing on LinkedIn. Put your hand up if you've ever published a long form post on LinkedIn before. Awesome, okay, a few of you. How did you find the response, Suzanne?
It was great. It was
Excellent.
actually insights from a conference that I attended that was sort of really pertinent to
cool.
my market. And so it was just really taking some of the points that were raised, but obviously for people that couldn't attend the conference and yeah.
So what do you think? One of the,
I mean, I think it's a fabulous forum.
And what do you think one of the biggest reasons that your post got engagement and was successful?
I think because the content of it was of help to the people that were actually responding to it. So in that particular case, I think some of the people were people that hadn't made it to the conference, would have dearly loved it. And so some of the content was really pertinent and useful, and so they wanted to talk about it. So,
brilliant. Yeah, so I really like that example, because what Suzanne's done is she's gotten ahead of her target market, what are they interested in, and it wasn't about her or her business. Like rule number one, it's not about you, what's in it for me, same thing, you know, if you talk about yourself, people don't want to know, you know? You can only tell people two things, what they already know, and people only want to talk about what they already know and what they already know they want to know, okay? So you can't tell people something that, you know, they don't know they want to know yet. Is everyone following? Yeah. Okay, so publishing on LinkedIn is something that I've had to try and test to like work out what works. It seems like at the moment the way that LinkedIn pick posts to promote is based on a 10% formula. If you get 100 people looking at your article, 10% have to like it in order for LinkedIn to promote it to a wider audience. Okay, so you could actually go from getting 200 views from people within your network to 300,000 views within a week or two if you get enough engagement. So it's so important that your post is, you know, caters for a specific target market, and that's where you know, share it and you promote it in groups and so on and so forth. And I'm going to give you an example, and it's not something that I would recommend doing, but you'll understand the way that people engage by this example. So there's this guy in Sydney who he really likes LinkedIn. I can't even remember what he does as a career, but he posted an article and the headline was, "Why I Left Facebook." Okay? Now, instead of putting a picture of himself or his Facebook profile or whatever, he actually put a picture of Mark Zuckerberg. And so, you know, when you put two and two together, you see the headline, you're like, oh wow, that's big news, Mark Zuckerberg's left Facebook. You click on it and it's all about him, right? And so there's all this engagement, people commenting, and he has like about 500,000 views within a couple of weeks. So really powerful stuff. Like again, you know, I'm not saying that that's for everyone, but because after like 3 weeks after that, everyone's putting celebrities in their posts and all sorts of stuff. So make it interesting. And the difference between sharing updates and publishing posts, an update's a bit like a Facebook status update, and a post is obviously a longer form thing. Now, who thinks that you should do more posts or more updates? Who thinks you should do more posts? Put your hand up. Yep. More updates? Not so many? Okay. Look, if you're going to do both, you should be doing more updates. Like just they're like jabs. Have you ever heard of the book Jab Jab Hook? Yeah. So they're like little just reminders that you're there. Cool pieces of content. One thing that I've learned that works really well just from testing it, but it's not really advocated, is images. Like just like you do on Facebook, pictures work really well on LinkedIn. So famous quotes. The biggest topic of interest on LinkedIn statistically is leadership and entrepreneurship. So everyone on there wants to grow their business and, you know, develop their career, so that's interesting to people. Post is going to position you as an industry expert. That's the main difference. So when you have an opinion on something, you're an expert, because people want to hear what you've got to say, and they may not agree with it, but that's good, because then they'll comment and you create this discussion. If people are talking about it, it's good. Okay, so there's some things that you need to know about posts, and other than just the engagement side of things, they're different than blogs. Question?
I think you're going to talk about it.
Sorry?
Maybe finish first, because I think I have the question and you're talking about the answer.
Go ahead, ask the question.
You've already started the answer to her question.
Yeah, basically like when you do posts on LinkedIn, it's like unique content that you create from on the platform, or is like you share what you already create somewhere like Facebook? Yeah,
okay. No, that's a good question. So like you can share stuff and it will appear as a update.
Oh, okay.
And by all means, like do that. If it's interesting to your target market, definitely do that. Don't create everything yourself. That's a time-consuming way to do it. But these ones you have to write yourself. Next question.
Similar question. So we publish stuff on our website, articles, and then we use Hootsuite to publish it out to social media. I imagine that just does an update. Correct. Rather than a post in Facebook.
Yeah. So the question was when you use like Hootsuite, which updates, you know, all your Facebook and Twitter and stuff as well, does it show as an update? And the answer is yes, but it will be an update from your company page. You can tie in your personal page as well, which I recommend you do, because with LinkedIn, the engagement comes from individuals, not from companies. So the company serves a purpose as building rapport and trust and stuff, but you're going to get the engagement from individuals. So like if you've got a team of like 20 people in your organisation, right? If you have an optimised profile, you should get around 50 views a day. So you can imagine if you multiply that by 20, how much visibility you can actually get within your target market. It's a lot more than what is achievable on Google anyway. So it's pretty powerful stuff, and these posts will rank well on Google. I know you got a question now.
Sorry, slightly related. So does that mean people in our company should all be attached to our Hootsuite to publish any related articles to their contacts as well?
Yeah, look, what's going to happen is people are connected to lots of people in your organisation. They're going to see the same updates a lot. So I'll just encourage them to share,
manually.
Share the stuff, that they find interesting. Okay.
So sorry, what is the optimized profile? So is that just?
We're gonna get to that. Yep.
My grasp on the English language verbally is not that great. How do I write?
You're gonna ask me how to spell something.
Yeah. How do I write posts?
Sorry?
How do I write one of these posts?
Oh, okay. Look.
Is that something you offer, or?
Yeah. Look, this is something that I would recommend that you outsource. Copywriting is a very specialised area. And even if you are a good writer, is that the best time for you to spend in your business? I'd suggest outsourcing it. Whether it's to me or you want to outsource it to like a copywriter somewhere else, that's fine. But just keep in mind that there's two things you need to manage here. It needs to be you need the LinkedIn strategy and you need the copywriting skill. Okay, so if you outsource it to us, you've got both. If you outsource it to a copywriter, make sure you learn about this stuff first, the LinkedIn strategy stuff. Is important. It does not cost a lot of money to outsource something like this. Copywriters are really quick at what they do. That's all they do. They've been trained to be quite effective on it. If you don't have time to do posts or the money to invest in outsourcing it, just start subscribing to other people so you can share their stuff and just become active. If you want more comments on your article, like comment on other people's articles, because this law of reciprocation is massive on social media. Can everybody write this down for me, please? Crowds follow crowds. Why are we on LinkedIn in the first place? Because we saw somebody else join who we know, right? It's the same as Facebook. And when you join, they've asked you to put your email address in, and before you know it, they've sent an invitation to everyone you know on email from you, asking them to join LinkedIn. So it's no surprise that they're growing so quickly. It was only a couple of years ago that there's 6 million people on LinkedIn. Now there's 7.5 in Australia, 380 million globally. So do you think you'd ever run out of leads if you mastered LinkedIn lead generation?
Sorry, can I just ask another question on
Yes.
the posts? Could you put a case study, let's say you wrote a case study, can you actually put that as your post?
What do you think?
Yes. I didn't know if it needed to be something not about our business, for example.
Yeah.
So
No, there's very few rules on LinkedIn. They've got rules over like using questionable techniques, I suppose. But there's no rules that says you can't put an article in your summary or in your experience tab. So for example, there's no reason you can't have 3 experience sections about one job. Why not? You can do whatever you like. I have a post in my LinkedIn publisher which is a case study, and it was received really well. I've actually sent it to prospects quite a lot. Did you someone else have Scott or not?
No.
No? Sorry, I thought you. By the way, 8 images is the optimal amount of images to have in a post. Interesting statistic. Yeah, 8's quite a lot, right? So you almost got like 2 or 3 sentences, snippets before another image. And the kind of images that work the best are not your typical business images. They're the ones that are grabs people's attention. So it might be a cheetah's eye or a baby with an iPad. Or personalised pictures. If you've got pictures of yourself, that's even better. Because you're building rapport with people and engaging them in discussions. And long term, this is what you need to do to position yourself as an industry leader. This is why I'm sharing this with you now, because the connecting and sending messages and stuff will get you a result right away. Within 30 days, you can transform your business. You could double your business within the next 6 months using this strategy. I know because I've done it. I've done it for our clients. The reason it doesn't happen for everyone is because people just don't implement it.
it was 8 minimum?
Sorry?
8 minimum images in
Optimal amount.
Optimal.
Yeah. Okay. The headline is very important for your articles. You want to be engaging. So it's kind of like you've got to be subjective in your headline, or ask a question, make it something that creates curiosity, for example. Okay. I'm going to do what David did and give you a minute to just turn to your partner and come up with a headline each, and then we're just going to ask a couple of you to share them.
Thank you for being here. You go first.